Okay, so I'm working on problem number 1 from summer 2013 exam 1A. You can read the problem here. The way I suggest you approach this problem is pause the video at this point and try to work the problem yourself first before you look at my solution. So please take a moment to pause the video. Alright, I'm going to get started by writing down what we know and what we don't know. So the best way to do problems like this is to split it up into, we have two different parts. There's part 1 is the part where the person is driving and we don't know delta x1. We know v1 and we don't know t1. Part 2 of the trip will be the part during which he is stopped, and that's delta x2, which is 0 because he's stopped, v bar 2, which is 0 because he's stopped, and then t2, which works out to be 0.717 hours if you convert 43 minutes into hours. And then we have the total trip, which we are looking for. We don't know delta x total. We know that v bar, the average velocity for the entire trip, is 58 miles per hour, and we don't know t total. Okay? So now that I've split it up, if you haven't gotten this far, this would be another good place to pause the video. Alright, so now I'm going to write down equations for each part of the trip. I've got that delta x1 is equal to v bar 1 t1, delta x2 is v bar 2 t2, delta x total is v total t total. Okay, so the trick here, I guess, is I'm going to use this equation right here as a starting point. I'm going to write v total is equal to delta x total over t total, which can also be written as delta x1 plus delta x2 over t1 plus t2. Alright, so let me plug in the quantities that I know. I know that v total is 58. I don't know delta x1. I know delta x2 is 0. I don't know t1, but I know t2 is 0.717. So now I've got an equation with two unknowns, delta x1 and t1. But I have a relationship between those two unknowns, which is right here. Right? So let me make that substitution, because the thing is, I know v1, right? So I can write 67 t1 divided by t1 plus 0.717, right? Now I have a single equation with a single unknown, and I should be able to solve it very quickly. So if you've gotten to this point, you should be able to solve for t1. Again, I recommend you pause the video and go ahead and solve for t1, and then check your algebra with me here in a minute. Alright, so now I'm solving this algebraically. So the algebra reveals that t1 is 4.62 hours. That means that t total, which is t1 plus t2, is 4.62 plus 0.717, which rounds to 5.3 hours. And then delta x total, which is delta x1 plus delta x2. Well, we found that that's v1 t1 plus 0. So that's 67 times t1 plus 0. And so delta x total works out to be 310 miles. Okay, so there's my solution. My total time, 5.3 hours, and my total distance 310 miles. That's it.